human head.
It's a what?
I think it's a human head.
Why do you think it's that?
Because it looks like it's on an ear.
Parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
A human hands.
Most mums think their kids are angels, but what happens when they discover their once little boy has turned into every parent's worst nightmare? This is the case of Brian Coe Jr. and his mother, whose world was about to be shattered by an unthinkable truth.
This was in the second bag. This was the bed.
Cut open his belly and see his guts. They're really.
On March the 1st, 2021, a seemingly ordinary day turned into a mother's worst nightmare in Grand Junction, Colorado. A chilling 911 call revealed a horrifying discovery that would change a family's life forever.
Why do you think it's that?
Because it looks like it's on an ear.
Is it bloody or does it like anything like that?
I just need to come. So I had to take a picture and send it to you.
What's the address?
As the dispatcher tried to make sense of the shocking situation, the mother's fear and disbelief were noticeable. She struggled to comprehend the possibility that her own son could be involved in something so sinister.
Is your son there now?
He just pulled up. We wanted to make sure he was here before we called.
How old is he?
19. He's had a little bit of a fascination with the morbid, but he was channeling it, I thought, into becoming a crime scene investigator, but not so much.
With each passing moment, the gravity of the situation intensified. The mother found herself caught between protecting her own child and facing the terrifying reality of what she had uncovered.
Is the bag still in the closet?
No, it's in my kitchen sink, and there's a secondary bag that I have not opened. It's currently covered with a towel.
And there's a
It's
second
not
bag?
yeah, there's a second bag, though I don't know what's in it. I didn't open it.
I'm sorry. Did he took the second bag out of the closet?
I took the second bag out of the closet and put it in the sink.
Where's Brian now?
I think he's still outside.
And you're in the backyard now?
I am, yes, because I don't want him to hear me.
Unbeknownst to the responding officers, this case had its roots in an incident from the previous day. On February the 28th, 2021, emergency services had responded to an unusual call at the Blue Heron boat ramp. There they found 19-year-old Brian Koberger Jr.'s car partially submerged in the Colorado River. At the time, the incident seemed like nothing more than a teenager's mishap. Brian and his parents explained it away as a simple mistake. As Brian recounted his version of events, the officers had no reason to suspect anything more sinister than a teenage mistake. His story seemed credible, but somewhat embarrassing. The situation appeared so absurd that even the responding officers couldn't help but find humor in it. The parents took Brian home and came back without him, while the officers arranged for a tow truck to get the vehicle. Yet as they worked to resolve the issue, an unsettling discovery was made.
Hey, quick question for you.
Sure.
This back bumper, I don't know, you can probably see it from here. It's a lot of red on the back of that, dripping down it all a little bit. That's underneath the license plate, a little area right there. Okay.
Okay.
A lot of red, which means it looks like blood.
Blood?
Yeah. I don't know if did your son hurt himself on his
I
way
don't
out at all?
know.
He might have, he just didn't know it. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. It's a good question. He's at home. Is he make sure he's not got a
Just said he's going to bed.
something out on him somewhere that he's not aware of, maybe because his adrenaline was a little high. Maybe just have him do like a self-check, make sure he's okay.
Hello?
Brian, are you okay? They see blood on the back bumper of the vehicle.
Really?
Yeah, did you get hurt?
No,
Are you sure you don't have any injuries?
no, I'm fine. There's blood on it?
We're not sure.
We're not sure. It's a red, something red underneath the license plate.
Similar blood stain.
Oh, no.
All right, but you're not injured. You don't have any.
No, I don't know what would cause blood or whatever it is on the bumper.
But you're not injured.
No, I'm not injured.
The presence of an unexplained red substance on the car raised the first red flag. The next day, as police returned to the boat ramp, a missing person report added another layer to the unfolding mystery. On March the 1st, it was revealed that Brian's father had found a wallet in the recovered Ford 500, the very car that had been submerged in the river. This wallet didn't belong to Brian or anyone in his family. Instead, it belonged to Warren Barnes, a homeless man who had been reported missing that same day. This discovery, coupled with the strange circumstances surrounding the car's submersion in the river, prompted Brian's mother to take action. With her maternal instincts on high alert, she decided to investigate further. It was when she opened his closet that her worst fears were confirmed.
I think it's a human head.
It's a what?
I think it's a human head.
Why do you think it's that?
Because it looks like it's a an ear.
As officers arrived at the scene, they approached with caution. The tension was evident as they made contact with Brian, their friendly demeanor masking their growing suspicions. In a shocking moment of truth, Brian's admission left everyone stunned. The full of his actions began to sink in.
So, parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
Hands.
Do you have anything on you that's gonna poke, hurt, stick me anything without reaching for nothing? Don't reach for nothing.
My phone and my
Oh,
wallet, that's
okay.
it.
Well, I'm gonna have you face that way. Put your hands on top of your head for me real quick. I just want to make sure you interlace your fingers for me real quick, all right?
The officers placed Brian in a patrol car and transported him to the station for further questioning. They also arranged for Brian's parents to be brought in separately as investigators planned to question not only Brian but his family members as well, to gather a complete picture of the situation. As investigators began to piece together the events leading to the horrifying day, they first spoke with Brian's parents.
And right here. Just take your time. Take as much time as you need, okay? So I know very little about what's going on today. So, what started all of what's going on? So we have the car towed back to address, and of course with the battery being wet, nothing operating. And so my husband was cleaning out the car because he was going to take it into Scotty's to see if they could maybe salvage it. Okay. And he found the wallet. So he called me this morning and he said, found the wallet in Brian's car. Oh, and the officers thought that there was blood on his car. Okay. The night that it was in the river. Okay. Scene, and he had just had a procedure done on his armpit a few days before, so I thought maybe the adrenaline opened that back up, and that's where it came from. I don't know. And he said, I don't know where it came from. And he took a special effects class last summer, which involved fake blood. Okay. And he's like, one of those fake blood containers burst in my trunk. It's probably that. And I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense.
However, his father described his own unsettling findings and his attempts to confront his son.
Went back out there this morning just to continue, and I opened the glove box, and there was a in the glove box, underwater. The glove box is full of water, very large. And then, as I go around the passenger door, I open the passenger door, and there's a wallet in between this door, and I open up. That's not Brian's wallet. It's frozen solid. Oh my God, that's not Brian's wallet. So I take it inside. I ended up getting one of the out. There's a label ready. I read that, so I called label ready, and then another one. There was a social security card. I was like, hey, this is a weird call. But I've got a wallet here with so-and-so's name, and I'm hoping he works for you all, or you subbed him out or whatever. Oh yeah, my one, we've been missing him. Yes, he didn't show up today. Oh my God, never been a missing person. Okay, well I found his wallet at Blue Hen Boat Ramp. So here's my name, here's all my information. If you get a hold of him, tell him I've got his wallet here at my house. Okay, so I left that like that. Called Brian. Brian, what's going on? Why is there a wallet in the car? Oh, I found it down at the boat ramp when I was down there walking around. And he was so sincere. I took it all. I want to believe him. This is my son. Sure. We found out what Brian happened and all this going on in the last 2 days. How come you didn't tell us about the wallet? Dad, I was just so excited with all the goings on. My car getting towed because it's wet now. It won't start. I just didn't think about it. I didn't think it was important, Dad. I'm like, Brian, who is this one, whatever guy? Dad, I swear to you, I only know one more, and he's my school friend. It's not him. I believe him. There's blood on the bumper, right? I'm like a smear of blood. And I'm like, that didn't come from that cut. And I asked him, Mike, you tell him the truth. I knew. I didn't want to believe it. Something was going on.
Despite the mounting concerns, the family had tried to rationalize the situation. However, she described a discovery that shattered their world.
I was in his room cleaning up, putting some things away, and he has a Rubbermaid container in his closet. So I just kind of started digging through, going, what is this mess? Like moms do. And I saw a plastic bag, a white plastic trash bag. And I was like, what in the world does he have in here? And I picked it up, and it was heavy. And I held it in my hand, and I was like, what in the world is this? What in the world? Is it like maggots covering something? Or I don't know, I better take it in the sink. So I carried it out to the sink, and it was double bagged. So I ripped open one bag, and I saw gold board. Okay. And I went, I ripped open the second bag. And I saw the bag. I saw zero. So I didn't open the second bag. Okay. I called my husband. I said, Brian Jr. had already gone over his friend's house. He said, Mom, I want to go over to Kai's house. And I said, okay, but, don't be over there too long. He goes, yeah, I should only be over there maybe 3 or 4 hours. It's good to hang out with her. And I said, okay.
And he kind of knew something was up. Dad, you ever feel like the day's going to change? He started saying things like, yeah, we're just being really vague. Me and Andy were sitting there, and Mom was on the phone over there talking to 911. And it just seemed like it took forever.
As investigators continued to piece the events together, investigators Pete Berg and Lisa Norcross proceeded to talk with Brian, his demeanor revealing a mix of nervousness and eagerness. The investigators begin with casual conversation, a standard tactic to put suspects at ease. Brian's behavior, however, hints at an underlying tension that belies his outward cooperation.
Oh, thank you. Well, this is Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
Okay,
Good, thanks.
never really good.
Okay.
Any seats?
Sure. Ooh, there's a special chair in.
No, the special chair because it's soft and I'm old.
Brian,
I'm here?
Yeah.
Where did you go to school?
I've went to Broadway Elementary School just across from my dad's house. Then I went to Brooklyn Middle School.
right?
Graduated last year.
Good for you, okay. Do you work?
Yeah,
Where do you work at?
not even part-time. I was gonna say part-time, not even. As a bagger / courtesy clerk for Safeway. I work anywhere from 2 to 4 days a week.
Brian's unexpected and early confession catches the experienced investigators off guard. This immediate admission of guilt without prompting demonstrates a clear desire for attention and recognition. It's a textbook example of a perpetrator seeking to control the narrative from the outset.
And how did you get here?
I murdered someone.
To start back at the beginning and go slow and tell me as many details as you can remember.
So, because Murray going to jail for the 15 years probably.
I have no idea.
Because
We're at the beginning.
it's murder. I'm going to jail for
Okay.
20 probably, but so I figured, why fight it?
Okay. So what's important to me is to learn as much about you and what you did and as I can.
Well,
As many details as you can give me, the better.
it was the night of February 27th. It was a full moon, and I figured I could see so well. Why not drive out? I am in a bad state of mind at that time. I have major depressive disorder, so I am not thinking, shall say, positively.
Okay.
And I'm cruising around for an hour and a half. So I fill up on gas halfway through, and I'm eventually driving underneath the bridge near the sheriff's office. I'm bad with words. I'm just. By the way, I'm a habitual late shaker. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
You send people who have committed crimes like me. Do we stay in this county jail or are we moved?
It all depends on what the judge says.
The tone of the conversation shifts dramatically as Brian delves into the details of his actions. His manner of speaking about the crime reveals a disturbing hallmark of antisocial behavior, indicating Brian's inability to connect with the gravity of his actions.
So we were at the bridge?
Yes, I was at the bridge. I was cruising. There was a road underneath, right? Under the overpass. And I was driving along, and I see a shape here on the railway track. So I'm like, oh, interesting. So I go up, and as I'm looking, I see a large thing wrapped in a canvas.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's a homeless person. So I put on 3 layers of gloves because plastic gloves can betray their users because they're so thin, the vinyl gloves, by putting your fingerprints through. So I put on 2, 3 on one hand. I pulled back the canvas and I stabbed his neck.
Okay.
He was panicking at first in his old man voice. He was in his 50s. I know why I call him old man. He was saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Why?" And I just kept on stabbing his neck. Is it okay if I do a demonstration?
Oh, yeah.
This is him. I was on top of him like this.
Okay.
And he couldn't fight back. It was actually surprisingly easy. I was barely breaking a sweat. I thought, oh, this guy, he's going to be tough. But no, it was actually surprisingly easy. And during the time, I was growling and making animalistic noises. The whole ordeal lasted about a minute and a half.
Okay.
And when I was finished stabbing him, he took out his last breath, a grunt, and his head was halfway off. All the while, no, actually, after I killed him, I just couldn't stop saying, stinky, dirty, dirty, stinky, stinky. I wasn't smelling anything, but...
Brian's recollection of events is unusually vivid. The level of detail he provides is about to paint a chilling picture of satisfaction from reliving the experience.
And why were you saying that?
I don't know.
Okay. But you remember doing it, so...
Yeah. I suppose it was just me speaking out my mind at that moment. It was a pouring out of the mind.
Were you worried about, this looks like it's pretty close to the road and stuff, somebody seeing you or catching you?
It was 11 p.m., so not many were driving by. Well, it was behind the pillar. So, here's the road. It was here. So people would only see a brief thing here and here.
So were you worried about them seeing you?
I was worried about one of them stopping.
What did you think could happen if somebody...
Well, if they looked, it was quite dark under there, so they wouldn't have seen the guy unless they looked. They would have seen me holding a bloody 12-inch, wearing gloves, and wearing a mask to conceal my identity, a face mask.
Okay. So you weren't doing it for COVID, you were doing it to hide your face?
Partially. Social distancing. Yeah, but no one stopped, and I'm just like, proves the bystander effect.
I noticed you got a on your hand. Is that from...
Oh, that was when I was doing gas, when I filled up. What happened was, because I don't want to be seen in a gas station with a poking out of my pocket, I put it in the car on the back seat floor. When I'm done with it, I try and grab it, but my hand slips and grabs the blade, and as I pick it up, it slices these 2 fingers.
Okay.
And then, let's see. Yeah. And then after that, I stripped his clothes. I opened his belly to see his guts. They're really pink. Sorry, that was morbid.
The interview takes a chilling turn as Brian's excitement becomes palpable during his detailed recall of the... His animated demeanor while describing violent acts is a clear sign of sadistic tendencies.
Destroyed his eyes by stabbing him.
Okay.
And then I cut off his hands. I put those in plastic Ziploc bags. And then I cut off his right arm at this joint and at this joint. And then at this arm, I tried it here, and then I tried cutting it here. But what happened was I accidentally broke his bone. This one, it was poking out. And so I left that one here, partially dismembered here, bone sticking out. And then I left his body there. And then I took the head, put it in a leftover pizza box from there a few nights ago. And then I took the hands, put them in the back, drove home, hid the hands and head in my room, cleaned threw away the garbage with the blood on it, and then put the blood wasn't stained, it had splatters on it. I put it in the dish, in the washing machine.
What did you put in there?
I put the outfit I would wear in the washing.
You were wearing, or?
Yeah, I was wearing.
Okay.
In the washing machine, put it on high speed so it would effectively remove the blood. Washed it twice.
The investigators probe deeper, asking about Brian's actions after the crime. His responses demonstrate an alarming level of premeditation.
I can back up just so I don't lose track of where my mind is. So you cut him open, you put his arms off, his hands off, all that before you went home?
Yeah, before I went home, I tossed the arm bits around. Like, I took the right arm bit, threw it out, took the left arm bit, threw it out.
Lived somewhere around that bridge?
Yeah, but look in because I know crime scenes can be a very wide area. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to look in a 10-foot area. So like, this is a zoom in. So here's the road. And here's where my car was parked. You're going to here. I hope I'm being cooperative.
Oh, you're doing great. So you could have just walked over here.
I could have. There's no use trying to deceive wrong.
So that's north, and you threw. What all did you throw while you were there? I mean, how many pieces am I looking for?
There are 2 pieces of arm. This section and this section. Okay. Just in this general area. I couldn't say where they are.
Brian's extensive knowledge of forensic techniques and body exposes a calculated approach to his crime. His planned disposal methods, particularly the use of multiple sites, demonstrated a level of forethought typically seen in experienced offenders. His methodical planning definitely counters any notion of impulsive action.
You took, was it the head and the hands? Mm-hmm. And what did you put them in?
Well, there's a 3 rule for, I like to call it the 3 rule.
Okay, tell me about that.
3 days, the body starts to stink. No, 3 hours, rigor mortis sets in, the body stiffens. 3 days, the body starts to stink because of decomposition. Mm-hmm. 3 weeks, the body is starting to seriously.
Right.
3 months, the body is unrecognizable. 3 years, it turns into a skeleton.
And may I ask how you know that?
I've always had a fascination with forensics and with anatomy and physiology. That's something I made up. So that's something I don't want to sound like I'm inventing something. That's why I coined the 3 rule.
You kind of remember it that way.
Yeah.
That's your way of remembering
it. Is it accurate?
Well, somewhat. Yeah, so what did you have the head and the hands at your house?
Because it was starting to stink, I was planning on throwing the head and hands away. Not in the trash bag, not in the kitchen trash, but they were both in trash bags. The head was in a trash bag, I tied up the trash bag. Hands, I put in a trash bag as well. They were in Ziploc bags. And I was planning, do they sell empty paint buckets? Mm-hmm. I was planning to buy an empty paint bucket, put the head in it, seal it, and then I was going to throw it off in some dish.
Okay.
The hands I would throw in a different spot, wherever.
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I have it right. The head is inside of a trash bag.
It was.
Well, where is it now?
In the kitchen sink. My parents searched through my room and they found the head and hands.
Okay, and so are the hands in the kitchen sink now?
Last time I checked.
Okay, so they're in the kitchen sink now because your parents put them there.
But they were in my closet.
The investigators continue to dig into the grim details of evidence disposal, a critical phase that often reveals a suspect's level of premeditation and forensic awareness. Brian's response exposes a disturbing level of planning.
And you talked about cutting, I used to be a meat cutter, I know it's not easy, just cut off hands.
Oh yeah, it was with the, I was just.
So did you practice on anything else?
No.
Or how did you know how to do it?
No, I just went along as a process. The bones, I just pressed the blade down and went, sever them at the ligaments.
Okay. And how hard was it to do that? To get them actually?
Not particularly hard. I was just more frustrated that I broke this bone
So if you hadn't got frustrated, what was your, I mean, it sounds like what you did, we know. Did you have a different plan? Why were you
The original? Because I always wanted to know what it felt like to cut up someone.
Okay.
So, just,
So why did you stop? Where did you stop?
because the arms were, that's it. And that's all I wanted to know was like off the limb. And I'm just like, okay.
And you said you studied criminology and forensics and all that?
Not college study or school study. It's like a passing interest.
I understand. But what, were you worried about, like, leaving evidence behind or being caught?
Totally.
Tell me about that and what you did there.
Well, I was figuring the police don't, this is not to be taken offense, but police, they don't seem to care as much about high-risk individuals, homeless people, prostitutes, etc. So I was deliberately looking for someone who lived that type of life.
Okay.
And I found a homeless person, and the original goal was just leave him there. But I was worried about the fibers on the outfit I was wearing that would be on his clothes and stuff. So I deliberately messed up the clothes.
Probing deeper, the detectives explore Brian's motivations, a standard tactic to understand the psychological underpinnings of the crime. However, this uncovers a disturbing long-term plan.
So how long have you been planning or looking for someone to do this with before you found this guy?
About a year.
About a year?
No, 6 months.
So you come close or seen somebody or chickened out or anything in the past?
No. I mean, I was looking for a deliberately secluded place like that one. I wouldn't just go up in Clifton and find someone walking down the street and stab them. No, that's too public. Everyone sees that.
Well, have you looked like at the homeless places or anything in the past?
I have, yes. I will go on night drives often, maybe once every 2 weeks. Now just peruse the streets.
So before this guy, how close have you come in the past?
Not at all.
I don't know, you just drive around and
Yeah, look, just try and find
is
someone.
anybody interesting and
No.
in your mind thought of a plan?
Well, occasionally when you see girls walking down the street, I take a glance at them because it really is like Ed Kemper where half of me says, well, I'm quite inept with women. I'm being honest, I'm no Casanova. But half of me says, I want to take that girl home and make her feel nice. And the other half of me, it's just like what Ed said, is I want to see what her head looks like on a stick.
The interrogators transition to discussing Brian's mental health history, often a key factor in understanding behavior. His mother's account unveils a troubling pattern of warning signs and missed opportunities for intervention.
Tell me about Brian. Does he have any kind of mental issues or disabilities? We were told he had ADHD. So we put him on ADHD medicine. He didn't get it during the summer or weekends when we went to middle school. He started exhibiting antisocial behavior, saying things to get kids riled up and thinking it was funny. And then when we switched to Fruita High School, he did okay in 9th grade, 10th grade. He got in a lot of trouble, a lot of behavior issues. 11th grade, we had a big meeting and they said, kids don't get issues. So we put him in R5. We took him and did some testing for ADHD and whatnot through Division of Rehab. And the doctor had said, yes, he's ADHD. Yes, he's autistic. Yes, he's this. Oh, and there's some indications that he should get further testing because of potential psychosis.
The conversation shifts to Brian's fascination with a common area of exploration in such cases. His response exposes a disturbing depth of knowledge and identification with notorious criminals.
I read books. I have a book on forensics.
Okay. Did you read the book, the Ted Bundy book?
No, it was on the internet.
Yeah, okay. All right. And Pete does him too. Yeah, you know, so.
Great.
Do you know who Ed
Gain,
No, Ed in California?
Ed Kemper.
Yeah. Studied him?
I know of him. He was
He wanted to play.
He was a Goliath. He was 6'9", 300 pounds,
So can I ask you a question? Almost all those people did this for some sort of, whether they had this in the body or it was some gratification in their mind.
Criminology, there's different types of, I'm not a serial by no means, but with serial there's different types of them. There's organized, disorganized, visionary, missionary.
I'm just wondering what gets you excited about doing it?
Well, I'm not really attracted to it.
In a final push, the detectives explore the emotional impact of the crime on Brian. His response to this line of questioning exposes a deeply troubling lack of empathy and remorse.
You know, Brian, I have to ask, a lot of people that we have talked with,
They're silent.
wow, or they're just not as well spoken as you are, to be honest with you. You're very articulate. You're very articulate.
I think I'm bad with words.
No, I actually think you're really articulate. And you talked about you were just kind of in a bad space that night.
It was, yes.
Okay. Why were you in a bad space?
I didn't take my medicine, and plus for years I was wondering what murder would feel like, because read Ted Bundy and the Zodiac, they all say it's the best film in the world. So I'm like, I'm going to try that. So for some time I had been wondering when it would happen. I always knew I would be in this building, whether it was as a criminal or a police officer. If I go back that night, I wouldn't have done it, knowing what it felt like, knowing how this will all turn out. I wouldn't have done it.
What did you think it was going to feel like?
I thought it would be the best feeling in the world.
You said you didn't feel much of anything.
Excitement.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But other than that, no.
Well, let us step out and figure out where we're going next, okay?
Okay.
In the end, Brian Cohey Jr., then 19 years old, was charged with the murder of 69-year-old homeless man Warren Barnes. He was found guilty of first tampering with and tampering with evidence. He confessed to the crime, stating that he had always wondered what it felt like. Cohey was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.